How to clap back at work. I'm Kendall. I'm that career coach, and I'm here to help you navigate the secrets of the career game and find progression in your career by telling you these little hacks and unspoken rules that help you get ahead. Today, we are talking about what to do when somebody belittles you at work. So I saw this post on Instagram and I felt like we absolutely had to talk about it because this happens way too often in my experience. Somebody makes a snarky comment, somebody belittles your work, somebody steals credit for your work, somebody says something outright mean or derogatory to you. And when we talk about playing the career game, oftentimes we talk about how to measure our language, how to make sure we're not being too reactive, too combative, we're not arguing with people or being dismissive. And so, what do we do when somebody else is clearly not playing the games themselves and instead says something really rude in a way that allows us to maintain our professional integrity? And I love the advice that was in this post. It says, ask them to repeat it. And I agree. There have definitely been phases in my career where I wish I had done this when I look back. But if somebody says something rude to you in a meeting, you don't know what you're talking about, or, well, you're only on this project because of XYZ, or something rude to you, they're looking for you to react. They're looking for you to respond. And if we take away that reactivity, whether that's glossing over it, which is what I do a lot, or addressing it directly in a positive way, we take away that dopamine hit for them, we delay that gratification, and then we force them to have to think about why they actually did this. So I love this. If somebody says something rude to you in a meeting, instead of pretending they didn't say it at all, which I will admit I do that a lot. If somebody says something rude, I'm like, I'm just gonna pretend I didn't hear that and move on. Or getting reactive and starting to pick a fight, say something more along the lines of, can you repeat what you just said for me? If they said something mean and you ask them to repeat it, now the whole group is listening, right? Because odds are this is in a public setting, because that's what people do. Now the whole group is listening. They can't sneak through with, oh, it was a reactive comment. Oh, it was a one off. Oh, I didn't mean to say that. If they get in trouble, they have to own it, which means they have to come back and say it again, which is uncomfortable for most people. Now, if they say it again, they may say, well, I didn't mean it the way that sounded. I meant it like this. And then great, maybe we've taken a bad situation and we've calmed it down a bit. But if they come back and they say it again, then we follow up with, can you help me understand why you would say that? What made you think this was the appropriate thing to say in this meeting? When we put people on the spot like that, we take a lot of the wind out of their sails and it actually makes them look quite awful without us having to argue, talk about how great we are, prove a point. Instead, we allow them to essentially dig their own hole and jump in it by asking them to repeat it and then explain why they would say something like that. Now, I've given this example before on some longer podcast episodes, but early on in my career, I worked for a CFO who left the firm and was replaced by a VP of finance. And at that time, I was transitioned to work for this VP. And 2 weeks into working for him, okay, I am in my early 20s. I am a financial analyst / data scientist working for this firm. And I run this huge report that goes to all the heads of finance and the board every month. So he has been there 2 weeks. It's time for me to present this big report. And I go into the board meeting. It's him. It's a bunch of his direct reports, the rest of the C-suite, and me. Now, I'm an entry-level analyst, just to set the stage. I'm in my early 20s. I am wearing a dress that has these big sequins on it. So think like almost 80s style that has like a strap similar to this. And I have a cardigan, like a black cardigan over it. Black dress, black cardigan. Okay. I would not say that this dress is super short or super low cut. Not that you can't be empowered to wear those things, but I'm just setting the stage for this comment. So I'm standing up, presenting this report, and I'm talking about our cash flow. And he starts laughing and goes, you look like you should be dancing on the table, not sitting at it. Yeah, that's a thing that happened. And I look back now and even trying to justify it, I'm like, maybe he just meant because of the sequence, or maybe, but think of how that comment came out, right? That was awful. And there was one other woman in this executive team who was in this meeting with me. And before I even made it back to my desk after this meeting, the CHRO is sitting there. The head of our construction department, who is another female, is sitting there. The woman who had been in this executive meeting is sitting there. And they're like, so how much would you like to sue him for? Like it was egregious. Okay. And in that meeting, I remember I blushed really bad. I have Irish and Native American lineage. And when I'm embarrassed, Irish wins out and I go super red in the face. And I am bright red. And I just pretend like I didn't hear it. And I just keep talking, right, about the cash flow and about what's going on. But I look back at that moment and I wonder if I had said, I'm sorry, can you repeat what you just said? If I had made the whole room stop and made him repeat that comment in front of this executive committee, would he have gotten the error of his ways? Like, would that have helped him click and go, oh, shoot, that was not smart, right? Or even have asked, why would you have said something like that? Are you trying to belittle me, discredit me? Help me understand. Imagine the pressure that would have put on him without getting confrontational, without getting angry, without getting frustrated, without creating an argument. I'm merely asking for an explanation. So hopefully coming out of this video, you guys feel empowered in these situations where you may be belittled or you may be talked down to kind of put them in their place in a really respectful way. Hey, can you repeat that for me? Can you help me understand why you would say something like that? To me, this is so powerful and it changes the dynamic in the room. And it's going to be much better for you, the individual who is being talked at. So hopefully you guys found this tip helpful. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'd love to hear your own corporate horror stories. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with another great episode.